Hey, this is Riley from Kotaku, and I'm here with.
Patrick, hi.
They're showing us Children of Morta.
Yep, yep. Yeah, let's
Um,
get to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The signing process, yeah. So,
they're gonna
yeah,
take your passwords. No.
it's a preview build, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Because we are preparing for the launch earlier this year. We are aiming for summer, and if everything goes well, we're gonna get there. We are pretty happy with the progress itself, but
Mm.
yeah, let's focus on the intro
Yep.
for now because the story is pretty exciting here.
Margaret awoke, startled, a cold sweat clinging to her. She gathered her thoughts. Aged wood creaked, echoing through the quiet rooms. Near the house stood a shrine to Rhea Dana, goddess and daughter of the land of Rhea, and a being of comfort. Margaret sought answers. But the goddess did not speak. There was only the faint whisper of something dark, something hungry. The old seer's bones felt the weight of their age as she climbed. The only thought on her mind, has it begun again? John's mission would be a simple one. He was to investigate Rhea's greatest shrine. His mother presented him with a fresh divinity shard. From his brother came a newly sharpened sword. His wife gave him a kiss, and his daughter's hugs were full of reason to return home safe.
Yeah, so this is basically how the game starts.
Mhm.
We're gonna have the kind of a tutorial and the introduction to the game right now. And Children of Morta, you have played the game before,
Yeah,
right?
I've played a bit of it, but if you want to say like
Yeah,
what
so
it is, yeah.
basically it is a game about a family in a time of struggle. And what is especially great about it, like from my point of view, is that that premise transposes onto gameplay itself.
Mhm.
So instead of those like regular classes, because it is an action RPG game of sorts, right? But it's more than the action itself. What is important here are those relations between family members and whatnot, right? So every and each of the family members is a playable character, and you can see those differences and how they complement each other when you play in co-op mode, and how you can play differently with each and every one of them, and you can find your perfect like match, and you can try to train. And because like gameplay wise the game is pretty demanding, I would say.
Yeah.
At first it may look like your hack and slash game,
Mm.
but there is more to it, like regarding how it plays. Actually every character plays in a different manner. Now
Yeah.
we are playing with John, and he's the father of the family, and as a father he wants to protect everyone, so he's a tank character, a shield bearer of sorts, right?
Mm.
So you can attack with your sword, and then you can like protect yourself and your close ones with your shield, and then you've got some additional moves and skills. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Long forgotten.
So pretty.
yeah, it is. Yeah, we are very happy with how the game looks right now.
Yeah.
There is like this special vibe, and those artists are highly talented. The one that works on the game. The game is being developed by Dead Mage Studios actually, and we at 11-bit are publishing it and helping them with all the things publishing related.
Yeah, when I put it, I like the idea of them being like a family, and that's such like an interesting.
Yeah, so,
Way
so instead of those classes of yours, like
Yeah.
ranger and mage and whatever, you've got like father and mother and son and daughter and all of those, right? And each and every one of them plays a specific role in the family, but also in their party, because their like
Right.
regular everyday job is to protect the sacred Mount of Morta. And now, when the corruption is spreading, they have to oppose it and find a way to bring things back to normal, basically, right? And yeah, and what is also great, we are like playing here with roles and tropes that are pretty familiar for all the fans of fantasy games. So for example, usually when you play with your like mage character, you've got this older man with long beard and whatnot. Here you've got the youngest daughter, because she's a tempered one and she's very energetic, so she's a fire mage and he
cool.
spits fire left and right, and she's actually the favorite character of mine,
Yeah.
probably next to the second daughter, which is Linda, who is an archer, and we're gonna see her later into the game. So as I said, you've got those family members and they are like cooperating. Also, like story-wise, you've got all of the things that are happening within the family, and also
Right.
you can follow them when they try to sort things out, like when it comes to the world itself, right? So
Yeah, they interact a bit, as I recall, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. And the story, we took a lot of it took a lot of time for us to come up with a fulfilling and engaging story, but right now we are very happy with the fact that it is actually engaging and you care for those characters. The more you play, the more you understand the value behind them, and you get attached to them. And the game itself, even though it is family oriented, it is not always family friendly, I would say, because some grim things are happening here,
Yeah.
and for a reason. I mean, we wanted that game to be moving and to be meaningful, and I think it is getting there.
I think what I played there was a puppy. And,
There
I,
is, yeah,
I
because
recall it not
yeah.
going well for me with the puppy,
Yeah.
and being very upset.
So exploring the world, you can encounter different like side quests and small story bits, and each and every one of them gives you some information about the world that surrounds you, but also it influences your family members.
Oh, cool.
And you can see how they like react to those happenings and how those happenings affect them and relations between them, I would say, right? So the story that you have mentioned, the one with the puppy, it was a cub, like a wolf cub,
Yeah.
that was trying to defend his dying mother from werewolves, right? And you,
I was
Yes.
supposed to save it, I think.
yes, and then he would like join you and live with you.
I watched I think a YouTube video of
Yeah.
someone who had saved the puppy, and I was like, well,
We have added a bunch of
Wasn't
those
me.
stories in the last
Yeah.
year or so.
fun.
Yeah, so you're gonna be able to like encounter many more than you could prior
More
to
puppies
that.
to save.
More puppies to save.
Right.
Yeah, a bear. Yeah, there are some. Not everything
Yeah.
is like focused on animals though. Like.
Yeah.
And
Oh, good.
yeah, we've got different biomes here because the whole world of Ria is quite diverse. So you're gonna have some biomes that are very fantasy themed, I would say, but you've got some biomes that are more steampunkish. And there you can interact with some like AIs of sort, not to spoil you too much, but there are things that are new to the genre, I would say, both gameplay and story-wise.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so now you could see that John picked up an item, and this is important from the gameplay point of view, because you can upgrade your character, and that's gonna be permanent. But also during your runs, you can find those items and artifacts, and they are about to tweak your builds, but only as long as the run lasts. After you get home, which is kind of your hub area, you're gonna lose all the artifacts and items.
Yeah. it's a cool sort of combination of
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
because we
things.
want you to feel the progress and we want you to be happy with like investing your time into the game itself, but then we want every run to differ and we want to have that replayability factor out there, right? This is an artifact room. They spawn from time to time, and here you can find those artifacts that will give you additional abilities or they will tweak your build as such.
Remaining calm
Such a good sound
and
effect.
collected,
Yeah.
the shock of his heart-skipping beats was concealed in expert fashion. Before him stood Linda, his eldest daughter, with bow and quiver at the ready, determined to do her part.
Yeah, so because we are playing in single player mode right now, Linda joins you and
Oh,
she's
cool.
an NPC that will support you along the way, but you can play the whole game in co-op mode as well. Then you can choose whichever character you want to. Although they are getting like introduced in the first act of the game. So
Right.
at first you've got only 2 of them, then you have got 3 up to 6 plus the bonus character.
And you can switch, like obviously you're not committed to the same character for the
No,
whole game or whatever.
you
yeah.
even have to, because the more you use one particular character, the more it is being like affected by the corruption.
Oh,
So they have to rest from time to time, and then you can get back to them. Obviously, you can have your
Yeah.
favorite one, and you can play most of the game with it. But from time to time, you have to like make those choices.
yeah. They're so creepy looking.
Yeah, it's like a mini boss
Yeah,
of sorts, right?
it is pretty grisly. It's you. Do you feel like it's hard to balance, like, that there might be characters that people like playing less than others, but like, but they still have to sort of switch it up, you know?
Probably, but
Yeah,
so
probably.
far, yeah, so far, like every and each of our like team members have a favorite character,
Yeah.
and it is different for each and every one of us. So for me, it's Linda or Lucy probably. Carol, a friend of mine, is like a huge fan of John as this tank character, because it's like with all of those games, like Overwatch, for example, right?
Yeah,
You've got
right.
this range of characters, and they are so different one to another.
I always play the same person in Overwatch.
I do have 3. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So this is the end of the like the tutorial phase, which is handcrafted, predefined, and then
Yeah.
you've got access to those different areas. But within those areas, you've got dungeons that are like procedurally generated. So you can replay them multiple times, and you're gonna find different artifacts. You're gonna find different story beats and whatnot, right? And once you have cleared out realm, sorry.
Right.
Yeah. And now we are getting to the hub area, which
Yeah.
is a family home of Bergsons, and here is where you can like interact with them, you can upgrade your characters, you can tweak the builds, and you can do all of those things. Yeah. Also, you can learn more about the world and the family as such. And because it is just the beginning of the game, we're gonna have only few options right now. But the more you play and the more you get into the story itself, the more options you're gonna have at home. Like, for example, your grandma, Margaret, she's an alchemist, so she can brew some potions for you in her lab. And your uncle, he's a
The ancient
blacksmith, so he
tree
can upgrade
had
your
been
weapons
cut
and
down.
whatnot, right? So,
Together, father and daughter described the
Rug on the
horror,
stairs is
creatures dripping with decay that slithered into bodies stuck between life and death to bolster their ranks. Grandma Margaret confirmed what they all feared. It was the corruption, a cruel entity spoken of only with hushed voices, an ocean of darkness that flowed from the top of Mount Morta. And the Bergsons' duty was to stand against this devouring deluge of death. John steeled his nerves, thinking of the difficult climb ahead of him and his daughter. The only thought that consumed his mind, by all the curses, where is that boy right now? Kevin was also eager to do his part in the family's fight, especially when his older brother Mark was off somewhere. He was as much a guardian of their mountain home as any of them. She stood. If they were to reach the summit and destroy this evil, as the Bergsons of old had done in the past, they would need the assistance of the Sanctuary.
Yeah, so this is your personal Batcave. From here you can
Given to
explore the
you
whole land
by
of Morta.
Rhea
Yeah,
herself.
of Rhea.
The Sanctuary was a gateway to the mysterious lands around the mountain. Margaret pointed to the huge crystal at the center of the den, revealing their next task: to activate it and open the way to the source of the corruption. And once Rhea's 3 spirits are gathered on the grounds, the only gate to the top of Mount Morta will open in this chamber. By himself, or with the assistance of those who loved him, John needed to gather the 3 spirits from their lands. Without them, he would not be able to stem the flow of the corruption.
Yeah, so from here we can get back to home, and then we can explore home a bit further, or we can then later venture into one of the dungeons, right? And as you can see, you've got different characters here. You're gonna be able to interact with them, talk to them, like, and listen to what they have to say or what they are thinking about, what they are struggling with. And in different, here is like, for example, the blacksmith area, like the workshop, and you can upgrade your weapons here. But you're gonna be able to do that a bit later. To the left, we're gonna have the alchemy lab with Grandma Margaret brewing some potions, as I said. Then you're gonna have like a tree of Rhea that will allow you to improve some skills that are shared among all the family members. So even when you are playing with one particular character only, you can unlock some skills for all of them. So there is a progress that is shared among them, right? And then you've got some skills that are attached to specific characters. So there is a lot of things to do and to play with if you want, if you are into that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's venture let's get back into the basement, and here we've got some different portals. The first one is open right now, and this is the only one that is open, but later into the game you're gonna have access to all of them. And that portal gives you access to the first area, which has like few sub areas. At the end of every and each one of them, you've got like a mini boss encounter. Then you are fighting a big boss of that area, and that will allow you to go further and unlock another thing. We're gonna play with Linda right now. She's an archer, and as you're about to see, she plays very differently to John, and that is true for each and every of those characters. So she's like a agile, projectile-focused character, and it's a twin-stick shooter of sort. That's the feeling of the game when you play with her. At least for me, it is. And she's better when it comes to like keeping enemies at distance, because she's a bit more vulnerable in comparison to John, but quicker, right? So there are pros and cons to each and every of those family members. And when you play in co-op mode, you can see that there are some like good sets of characters, I would say. So John, for example, being a tank character, she knows how to handle like multiple enemies at once. So he's good in crowd control, while Linda can pick everyone out from the distance. So it's good to like play with them, I would say. At least for me, that works for me. But then you've got like Kevin, and Kevin being like a young teenage introvert, he's a stealth character, right?
Cool.
So he's kind of a shinobi ninja.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can see that actually the setting and the fact that the family is there, it not only makes the story engaging, but also it makes sense in terms of how the game plays.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I think a lot of games sometimes it's like, this is just how this works.
No.
It's
We
fantasy.
want all the guys from Deadmage. They made a tremendous job in terms of how they build the world, and like as for the character, you can see that she knows how to jump, and she can do that way more often in comparison to John. Then she can kite, and she's the only character in the game that can kite actually. So it is easier for her to move around and shoot everyone, but in close combat she's very fragile.
Do you feel like it's equally viable to play like single player and co-op?
Yeah, I
or-
would say so.
Yeah.
I like to play Children of Morta in single player mostly,
Yeah.
but it is not. For example, my wife loves to play the game like in
No.
co-op mode, and
Yeah.
she cannot wait for the final release. Actually, yeah, and yeah, but single player, you've got a bit different experience then, I would say, because in single player it is about you struggling alone, and then from time
Yeah.
to time you can encounter one of the other members of the family, and it is so valuable then because finally you've got some kind of a support and you can feel the difference actually, right? And then when you play in co-op mode, it's way more fun, but because you can support each other and interact with each other, but also like the tension is a bit lower, at least for me, but
Yeah.
it is so entertaining one way or another. And then you're gonna realize the more you play the game that for certain situations and setups there are some characters that work better for those. So for example, you've got some bosses that are easier to encounter with those, like with Linda or Lucy. And while some other bosses, like it is better to it's a level up. I love this effect. And it is better to encounter them with those tougher characters. Like,
Will you know
like
what sort of
John.
boss you're gonna get? Like,
For the first time, no, you
No.
don't. But then
you could
once
try
you
again
have,
and
yeah,
pick like a certain. Yeah.
because those dungeons are like generated procedurally, but the boss is the boss of that particular dungeon.
see,
So
yeah.
you're gonna be able to prepare yourself, and this is basically how the game plays. You should play it multiple times to understand what is what and how to approach certain things. And it's gonna be a bit challenging, I would say. It is not like Dark Soulsy by any means, but we want you to get a grasp of everything. Then you're gonna have those additional challenges. Probably here on the right, you're gonna encounter one.
Yeah.
It's one of those random rooms with some either like puzzles or encounters.
It seems ominous.
Oh, you've got John here. He's
Yeah.
doing something. Oh, it's gonna be
Did
time-based
something.
challenge. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So obviously they are a bit tougher than your usual encounters in the area, but then there is a reward every time you finish
Oh,
that
and
kind of a challenge room.
Does something bad happen if you fail it? Or
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Oh.
But then you're gonna return. You're gonna return home, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
there is no permadeath here.
yeah. Well, it's stressful now. Just
Yeah, but you can see that she has this like area
yeah.
attack, which is pretty helpful here. And yeah, John would help you, but he's
He
focused
would.
on opening
Yeah.
this
Well,
portal
sure.
of
Yeah.
sorts, right? So
Obviously.
yeah, it's not his fault by
Yeah.
any means. Oh. We can exit the area, I think.
Yeah.
Because not this time
oh.
though. But then we're gonna return home, and once we are home, probably a new story bit will play. Also, we're gonna have some new like reward, probably access to the workshop or the alchemy lab or whatever. So there is value even to dying, because
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
gonna
that's
have
nice.
some kind of progress every time you do whatever here, right? We wanted to streamline the experience and to like create a pacing of sorts that would keep you invested.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I think with a lot of games like this, like, and I love like roguelikes and stuff, and I often don't mind the like repetition, but there is a way when you're at least for me, you're tempted to just like skip back to
Yeah.
whatever you were doing. So the idea that like
Yeah,
neat
so
things that happen is cool.
I mean, it is kind of a roguelite game, but at the same time, it was highly important for the whole team to make it like valuable in terms of how the story plays out, right? And we wanted you to be attached not only to the loop, like from the gameplay point of view, but basically to the story itself and those characters. It is like character driven pretty much. And oh yeah, so this is you returning home, being teleported.
And you're alive, hooray!
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Although a bit influenced by the corruption, right? So,
I see.
but it's nothing permanent. You just have
As
to
she
rest,
heard
and you're gonna be
John and
good.
Linda describe their foray, thoughts rushed through Margaret's head. The corruption had amplified the creature's wickedness. and no longer were they part of the harmony of the Rhea. With the new threats looming, Margaret asked her second son, Ben, to prepare his workshop. He would have to take charge of enhancing the warrior family's weapons and armor.
Yeah, so right now we've got this access to the workshop, and here we're gonna be able to upgrade some skills for. Oh yeah, so you can see the wheel here, and we've got 2 tabs. Now only the first one is accessible, which is the workshop. The second one, the Book of Rhea, is the one in which we can upgrade all of those things that are shared among all the family members.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, a lot of options and a lot of things to cope with, but in a good way, right? Because you can like tweak your experience, and there is always something for you to do, both gameplay wise, but also in terms of how you discover the story, like, and how you understand what the world of Rhea is about.
Yeah, I like how like lived in the house looks, and like all this. It's got so much like personality to it, even though.
And there are some surroundings as well.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to explore them later. And there are some things happening there. It's a very lively environment. We didn't want you to feel like it is just a manifestation of some kind of a menu.
Right, yeah. Totally.
It should be a real house, living and breathing. And
yeah, it's really neat.
So let's jump back to one of the dungeons just to show you maybe some additional stuff, and that's the grand loop that you're gonna play, right? And here you've got the second tab on top. It gives you all the skills that are related to Linda and John right now, right? You've got those tiers, and once you reach to a certain level, you can unlock new skills for those characters.
And their leveling up stays between runs as well. Right?
I mean, you level up every character separately.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, there are some things that are shared among the family members, and some things that are attached to certain characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the new characters come into play, and once you've got like the whole range of them, you can just switch between them freely.
Oh, like at any time, or
every time you go into the dungeon.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't just change your mind halfway there.
Yeah, and basically this is how the game plays, and you go through all of those realms, and you uncover the truth behind the corruption spreading. And then you learn something about the family itself, because not everything is obvious. So, and as I said, we should be ready to ship the game this summer. So we are pretty close. It's going to be available on all the platforms, meaning Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Nintendo Switch. And hopefully people will like the game.
Yeah, we were saying before, it's neat that it's happening all at the same time. I feel like there's lots of games that come out, and then I'll either try to be like, oh, I'll wait till it comes out on the Switch, or I won't wait, and then I'll be like, oh, I bet that would have been good on the Switch.
Well, for us, it just makes sense to release it wherever it's possible, and all of those platforms are perfect fit for that kind of an experience.
Yeah,
for
totally.
different reasons, right? But
it looks like a game that'll be really satisfying to play on the Switch.
Yeah, I think so. You can play it on a go, and I played it actually in this remote mode, and it's absolutely it plays great. Also, the 3rd level it is right now, and you can gain those additional abilities right away right now. So unlock them, and then you can play with them. It help. They help a lot actually, especially in terms of how you cope with those mini bosses and bosses of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Oh, a new challenge awaits us. Oh, no, just a small reward.
No, as long as this old lady doesn't die, it's fine. Do you play as the little kids, or you're mostly at least?
I mean, Lucy is quite little, I would say.
Yeah.
Though, so the fire mage character, she's like 7 or something.
Oh my gosh.
She's the youngest one.
Yeah.
And then like Linda is a bit older. Kevin is also in his teenage years, and then John is obviously being a father of the family.
Yeah.
He's an adult, and then so it's like the whole range of characters. Everyone can find someone suitable. But the story itself is pretty mature, I would say, in a way that like copes with all of those things that are happening to the family, and so it can be stressful at times, but that's good. It's like your gaming equivalent of Game of Thrones.
Which I don't watch actually.
Oh,
I've never seen it. I've decided that I'm just gonna learn about it through what I see on Twitter. So when if you were like, "What's Game of Thrones about?" I'd be like, I don't
one way to
know.
do that,
It's
sure.
snowing.
Yeah,
I'm committed.
you're
to
saving
this.
a lot of time this way.
I'm committed to my own ignorance now. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like I've hit an age where I have a really hard time with games where like kids are upset. Like, you're like, they're 7, and I'm like, what if something happens? Like, oh man. I feel like it's my biological clock, such as it is. Like,
things are happening here, but
at least she can shoot fireballs.
Oh yeah,
even if she's sad, she can also like kick some ass, so that's okay.
Yeah, and you're gonna see her like getting better at it.
Yeah.
So,
oh, cool. Yeah.
And that's true for all the characters. You can see there is this like hero's journey here, and you can see how they develop, how they like the more they understand what is happening, they adjust their behavior to that, and they grow. Really, those characters grow, which is absolutely amazing.
How did you all like get involved with publishing this? Or?
Well, we found the team and the game on Kickstarter actually.
Oh, cool.
And we were amazed with Children of Morta from day one, because and for me it is one of the favorite games from our portfolio right now. And so we approached them, and as with all the teams that we cooperate with, we found that we found out that we have a similar perspective on how to create games and what games should be about, like in terms that we want those meaningful experiences. I would say this is something that is like truly interesting for us. And Dead Mage guys are the same. They want to create games that stay with you after we play them, right? So, and Children of Morta is like that, because like gameplay-wise, it is very entertaining once you play the game, but then because of all the things that are happening in the game, you're like thinking about it, and you want to return just after you turned off your console or PC or whatever it is, right? So, and I mean, this is something that is true for all the engaging and meaningful stories. So yeah, so and it took a lot of time for us to bring the game to life, but this is just because we wanted to make it the best game possible, like in terms of all the things that can be true for the game. So like we were reworking the story multiple times, and we were adding some content, like, and tweaking some mechanics, and because everyone involved was sure that it has to be the best version of Children of Morta possible. And we are almost there. Obviously, this being a preview build, we are still to optimize few things, and we are still to like tweak few things, but we are very happy with the progress. Recently we have reworked the whole UI of the game, just to make it clearer and more in line with the tone, and because the way the game looks, it influences all the things, not only like in terms of the environment and characters, but also all the menus and whatnot, right? So
it's got a very distinctive look, definitely.
And I think that it is mostly because of the fact that the team has different experiences and we are scattered across the world. And we try to artifact room, right? Okay. So some cool addition, increased maximum health. That always helps.
Yeah.
And the second level of the dungeon, that dungeon has 2 levels only, and at the end of the second level there is this mini boss encounter of sort. But then something can happen along the way. Maybe a wolf cub that you have mentioned, or
that you failed to. Thanks, man. I know.
Vessels long bereft of life remained wrapped in sea. Caverns had always been a home for the unpleasant, but never the aggressive. Neodaya had been absent while her realm fell to chaos.
We are really fond of the storyteller here, so
Yeah.
we wanted to add as much, as many lines as possible,
Yeah.
just because it is good to have someone that like leads you through the game and
Yeah, definitely.
reveals all the important things.
Mm.
So again, it was a lot of work to like write all of those things for our guys and whatnot. There is something interesting up
Yeah.
above, I think. Yeah, new.
Wherever there was a
oh, yeah.
secret, knowledge was to
Oh,
be
yeah.
gained in reward. And wherever there was a reward, danger lurked. The cipher was important enough that it brought Grandma here. Here's to being lucky, Grandma exclaimed with her unique sense of humor.
Yeah, so as you can see, even though like those dungeons are procedurally generated, they are interesting. It is not like you've got those random rooms
Yeah.
and corridors connecting them. It's like it is a world, and a world that is fun to discover and to explore. So you've got those like pre-designed elements to them, like those challenge rooms and rooms with new parts of the lore, and you're gonna have some like NPCs you're gonna be able to interact with, and some like new things to do in terms of like sub quests, side quests and whatnot.
Oh, cool. Ah. I've heard different all the enemies look. And how they sort of look like.
Yeah, and with every new biome, you're
Yeah.
gonna encounter a new set of enemies. So obviously, right now we are in caverns, so a lot of spiders, and I'm highly afraid of them.
Oh no.
Yeah, I should be good though. And but then the second biome is sandy and like
Oh, cool.
yeah, and there is this like tech-oriented biome and all of those. Yeah, so a lot of things to do, and the richness of the world is pretty good. Oh, and this is
There you
like
go. That's a
an
giant spider for you.
elite enemy of yours. So
Yeah.
obviously more challenging, but gives you much more experience. And probably one will drop something.
Yeah.
This shard of sorts.
Oh.
It doesn't look good for us. Oh,
No.
yeah, sure. Nice.
Hooray! I love how many enemies in games drop money. And I guess if somebody killed me, I would technically drop money in that.
Yep.
I have money in my pants.
Yeah, the best part is that those spiders that I do encounter in my flat, they do not drop any money. And they should, though. They should pay
Yeah.
rent. At least share part of it. I mean,
Do
they
you
are
have a lot
using
of-
the space.
You have a
though.
lot of spiders.
Yeah.
I
We've
feel that
got
way-
some.
Oh god. I feel that way about roaches. It's just like, oh man. It's off topic.
At the bottom, you can see the combo meter.
Oh, that's what that
And
is.
the,
Yeah.
the more it goes up,
Oh,
the,
cool.
the better is the reward afterwards, right?
Mm.
Also, you can use environment to your advantage. You've got
Yeah.
those plants or those like flowers, and they explode, so you can lure your enemies nearby, and then you can kill multiple enemies at once.
Yeah, cool.
Also, you can die.
Yeah. I think when I
from
played
the
this,
explosion,
I
yeah.
exploded it and died. Because it doesn't look like it will explode, which is
Yeah,
kind
so
of
that's
fun, right?
that's the thing. It is
Yeah.
good to like replay those levels to understand how how the world works, and then use to your advantage. Those are traps as well, right? So
Yeah, right. I think I
many
died to
things
those as
and-
well, yeah.
And again, with new parts of the world, you're gonna encounter new challenges and new things to learn and understand, and yeah.
No.
Quite a bit of them.
Yeah,
Nice.
I always fall for traps in games. Oh, did that guy drown in there? What happened to him?
No,
No,
it is.
that's just
there is a creature
there's
there.
an animal in there. Whoa, cool. Can you fight it, or it just
No,
hangs out now?
it's
Oh, that's
just-
kind of nice.
Just a thing that lives in those caves.
Cool.
So again, it's the same as with the Bergson's home. We wanted to make it like believable, right? It should be a world for you, not just a level you're gonna play through. Another elite. Unfortunately, they do not trigger those spikes.
Oh, bummer.
They should.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but because of the fact that Linda is already
Yeah.
like level 3 or something.
Oh.
She's pretty good. Oh, nice.
Ah.
Oh.
I feel like in games like this, like it's hard sometimes to balance like the
And-
fun of exploring with like
Yeah,
the
and
feeling of like how do I figure out where
We
to
are
go?
still
like,
doing that, I
yeah.
would say. And then you've got those differences in between like playing in single player mode and co-op mode,
Yeah.
because obviously you have to make things a bit more challenging in co-op, because it's gonna be easier for you. You can support each other, you've got more firepower, you've got all of those things.
Right.
So your enemies are going to be tougher, probably more of them.
Oh.
As with all the games, we are usually that's
Yeah.
Not all in these caves are refugees. Some may just be traveling merchants stuck in a bind.
Yeah, so that's an NPC. You
Oh,
can
cool.
obviously set free, and then you're gonna be able to interact with her. And she gives you additional things. Yeah.
And,
It's a merchant of sort.
like they've just been stuck here, sort of waiting for you to
Yeah.
come find them. Oh. It's a really grisly floor. I'm really into it. Ah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
few more tries, and yeah, it will be easier and easier with each and every one of them, right? Leveling up, adding new things, probably upgrading some gear, and things that are challenging at the beginning, they are way easier later into the game. But then new things appear and whatnot. Yeah, so this is Children of Morta,
yeah.
and yeah.
I'm excited about it. Is there more stuff you want to show us? Or?
No,
Okay.
I think
Okay.
yeah, we can end here, because we do not want to reveal too much.
Yeah.
Also, it's just the beginning of the
Yeah.
game, right? So,
Cool.
yeah, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time. It was amazing.
Mm.